Ever think about trying out travel therapy for like a split second and then feel bombarded by all the negatives that everyone says about it? That's where we were when we started thinking about travel. So if that's where you're at, this video is for you.
Hello and welcome into another Joint Movement DPT's video. I'm Dr. Ryan O'Rear and this is my lovely wife, Dr. Megan O'Rear.
Hi.
And we're two traveling physical therapists who live full-time in our RV Big Betty right now.
So there's a reason we're wearing our geeky gear. Today's video is Mythbusters, the top 10 myths about travel therapy.
Myth number 1. You need at least 1 year of experience before you can start travel therapy.
Yep. This is probably the first myth we heard and the one that we heard most often because we were still in school when we started thinking about travel, and even now we're traveling as brand new grads.
You know, we might have felt a little bit more comfortable having 1 year of experience under our belts before starting our first travel assignment, but we really didn't want to run the risk of never starting. You know, there's never a perfect time in life to start something new, and so we figured it'd be best just to jump in. Now, don't get me wrong, not all travel assignments are new grad friendly. It's important to establish your strengths, your weaknesses, and be okay with saying no to a job that isn't going to fit you well. That's why it's also important to be linked up with a good recruiter who will care about getting you into a contract that fits you and where you'll have a good first experience. In a competitive market, now it might take you a little while to find your first contract because there'll be other seasoned therapists out there with a little bit more experience than you and more robust resumes. But this is just like how it would be in a permanent job market.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so for us, it took us about 3 weeks and 3 days to find our first contract, which felt like forever for us. But during that time, there was just a change in reimbursement, and so the payment was a little bit different. We were told from our recruiters that the job market looked like there was about a third of the jobs available compared to the last year. And it was just a weird timing when we got in, and we're very thankful that it only took us 3 weeks. And so don't get freaked out if there is a little delay for that first contract. You just got to build up your experience, and each contract will get a little better. And so it just all depends a little bit on the job market.
On to myth number 2. There's no mentorship in travel therapy. This is probably the second biggest myth that you will hear as a new grad physical therapist. Everybody says that mentorship is really important in order to become seasoned, like all of these other therapists who have seen many more hundreds of patients than you have. And we agree, mentorship is really important. But where this myth goes wrong is it assumes that you only find mentorship through permanent positions, and that just isn't the truth. There's actually a lot of recruiting companies who offer mentorship programs to their new grads. This means that they have many seasoned therapists at the ready that you are able to call or email just to bounce ideas off of or to ask any questions that you might have. Now, at our current location, we have like 6 therapists who have at least 10 plus years of experience under their belts. One of them even has been working for 30 years. So we have some great resources that we can ask, and they're so nice, super willing to help, and I've already learned a lot from them. And the truth is that a mentorship at a permanent position would likely look very similar to what we have going on right now with those therapists there with us, ready and willing to help and answer questions. So we're not missing out on the mentorship we would have at a permanent position unless at our permanent position we had written into the contract that we wanted this many hours every week of pure mentorship time.
Yeah.
That's when it would probably look different. But as of right now, it's about the same. So for new grads, this is a super important question to ask during your interviews with locations that you're looking at going to. Do they have other seasoned therapists at the location? That's one question. How long have they been at the location? That's another question. Questions geared like that so you can get an idea of what kind of support is going to be at the clinic working with you.
On to myth number 3. Travel means poor job security. So we've heard all the questions, are you guaranteed 40 hours? What happens if your contract gets canceled? What do you do in between your contracts? And if you do have time in between your contracts, well, that can't be good. You should be working at all times. And in truth, some of these questions are legitimate concerns and something you should look into. But there's usually a reasonable answer for all of them. So most contracts have guaranteed hours written into your assignment contract. And if you don't have guaranteed hours written to your assignment contract, you should.
Right now, we have 40 hours written in, but we've heard that you should be anywhere around 36 to 40 hours guaranteed if you're looking to work full-time.
So it's true, travel contracts can get canceled. And that's also something else you should have written into your assignment contract is a cancellation notice. And so a typical cancellation notice can be 14 days to 30 days. Right now with our contract, we have a 14-day cancellation notice. So once they say, hey, we've hired a permanent therapist for that location and we don't need your services anymore, then we would have 14 days to begin searching for a new contract. Mm-hmm. And so you want to make sure those are written in your contract. As for having time off between contracts, we have travel therapy friends who've been traveling for 3 years and had back-to-back-to-back-to-back contracts that whole time in those 3 years. So that sounds pretty secure to us. And that's traveling in a pair, which is a little bit tougher to find jobs that way, which we'll do a video in the future on that. In addition, time between contracts can be a huge perk because you can use that opportunity to go visit family for an extended amount of time or go travel to someplace new. And honestly, who doesn't like that sort of flexibility?
Okay, on to myth number 4. Traveling offers no professional development. That is false. We are firm believers that there are many ways to develop your professional skills as a traveler, but we do want to make sure we address specializing. For physical therapists, in order to specialize in a certain area of treatment, you have to have at least 3,000 hours of treatment in that specialty. To be honest, it would be really hard for a traveler to find a location that would satisfy all of the needs you need in order to turn those hours in and take the test to become a specialist. So if you're looking to specialize, we think it would be harder as a traveler, but there are many other ways to hone your skills and your craft. A couple of the ways that you can develop in your profession through travel physical therapy is through the money that recruiting companies give you for continuing education. This is offered oftentimes at permanent jobs too. It's also offered at travel jobs. So you have the opportunity to spend some of that money on courses to continue your education. Another perk is that you may be in a location that's close to a conference that's happening that you might not have been able to travel to otherwise. And in addition, you could find that you have time off in between contracts, or you could plan for time off in between contracts in order to go to a bigger conference where you can get like all of your CEUs that you need for the whole 2 years or whatever your year requirement for updating your licenses. And finally, as a traveler, you have the opportunity to meet a lot of people and a lot of clinicians, and you're learning in that respect as well.
Yeah, you get to meet a lot of different therapists in the locations you go to, and if you take a little nugget of knowledge from each of those people, you're going to be a pretty darn good therapist. And going into myth number 5, travel therapists have poor hireability for permanent positions once they're done traveling.
I don't ever hire on previous travel therapists are the words that I heard from a CEO trying to hire me back when I was a student. And to be honest, that really upset me. It kind of frustrated me because that CEO was willing to hire me for my interpersonal skills, my treatment of patients, my ability to get along with people. For whatever reason,
as a new grad.
Yeah. For whatever reason he was willing to hire me, he was he was happy with what he saw and he would bring me on. And for him to say that just because I was a traveler, if I came back to him in a year or 5 years, he would throw me out of the pool because I was a traveler. Well, nothing's changed about how I practice. That nothing's changed about my personality or the way that I work.
If anything, you've gotten better because you've gotten to see a few more hundred patients and possibly different settings and learning how just the rehabilitation network works and working with nurses and doctors and being in that web. I mean, your experience is so much higher. And so I could see why that would be frustrating. And we even heard that from other people, that you come back after traveling for a few years and no one will want to hire you.
Yeah.
And we think that's a myth.
So the truth is that you gain a lot of experience as a travel therapist. You get to see a lot of different settings that helps you become more familiar with the continuum of care. So you may be able to recommend better places of discharge for your patients. You also get to see a lot of different management techniques. You see which ones work and which ones don't work. And you also have to jump into a group of people, find your place, get along with them, and learn how to work with them well right off the bat. And you have to know how to do that over and over again. So really, there's a lot of great qualities that you gain as a therapist that you can use to market yourself when you're looking at permanent positions. And to speak into that a little bit more, a lot of the traveling therapists that we know have been offered permanent positions after they're done working their travel contract. And really...
Contract after contract.
Really, those contracts are looking for permanent therapists. And if they can get you to stay in the town, which a lot of times is the biggest issue. We love being where we are now, but it'd be really hard for us to put roots down far away from family. And so the truth really is that you get offered a lot of permanent positions on your way through working these contracts.
So to say that travel therapists can't get hired into a permanent job after they get done traveling, that is just false.
Not true.
Myth busted.
Myth busted.
Myth 5 kind of rolls into myth number 6, saying that the only jobs available are at bad clinics. Let me tell you, huge myth alert. All right, repeat after me. There is no such thing as a travel jobs. All travel job openings are also open to permanent employees. The only reason the company is contracting a travel therapist is because they can't find a permanent employee in time to meet their clinic needs. Oftentimes this looks like they're in a rural setting and they just can't get anyone to go there and put down roots. Their company is growing like crazy and they have so many patients to serve and just not enough permanent therapists in there. Or it can be something as simple as a therapist has went on maternity leave and they need some bridge coverage for that time. So this doesn't mean that the clinic has poor ethics or poor management. It just means they're located in a town with a low population of prospective healthcare workers to employ.
Okay, on to myth number 7. This one is nice and simple. Myth number 7 is that traveling doesn't offer benefits. It's just not true. Most travel agencies offer benefits, and it can range from healthcare coverage, vision coverage, dental coverage, short-term disability, long-term disability, 401ks. Anything that I missed? There's a lot. So the benefits that are offered can differ between each travel agency. That's why it's important to ask each travel company what they offer, just so that you know and can be prepared. But every single one that we've talked to offers health insurance, and quite a few of them offer retirement savings. So something to look into, but it's a very easy myth to bust.
Myth number 8, traveling is lonely. And so we want to bust this myth just to say that there's plenty of traveling teams out there. And a team means 2 travelers who get placed in the same location or vicinity so that they can live together and then enjoy the perks of travel therapy. This can look like 2 friends together or like us, husband and wife. And this is what we've enjoyed. It's fun to have a travel partner and to go experience those things. And what's great is that even though, yes, both of us are traveling physical therapists, it doesn't have to be paired up that way. So You can have a travel nurse and a travel physical therapist, or a travel OT and a PT, a PTA, a CODA.
SLP.
An SLP, yeah. So any combination works. And so grab your best friend and say, hey, let's travel. You know, we can split rent and really make this lucrative for us and have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, if you're out there and you're thinking about solo traveling, it doesn't have to be lonely either. There's such a great community of other travel therapists out there. You can get connected on Instagram and Facebook, and we encourage you to come follow us, and so we can connect with you, and then even see who comments on our stuff to get connected with other people in your area.
Yes, there's also a conference that's dedicated just to travelers. And in any other conference that we've attended, we've also seen that there's a travelers meetup. So it's really fun to meet people on Instagram and Facebook, and then to go to one of the meetups and meet them in person. And there really is a strong community in this group of people, and that's really cool to see.
Or bring a dog.
Or bring a dog.
Or if you like to be lonely, then choose to be lonely.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about myth number 9. This myth is that travel companies pick where you go and you have no choice. This is not true. Really, you end up telling your recruiter some of your most important aspects of travel, whether that's location, setting, pay, time of year, whatever. You decide what's most important and you tell the recruiter, and what they do is they try to look for the jobs that will best fit those requests. Usually they can come up with quite a few options, and they'll contact you saying that there's a job opening here, it's in this setting, they're paying around this much. Do you want to put in for an interview? And you get to say yes or no.
So myth number 10, you get paid the same at a permanent position as you would as a traveling therapist. That's not true. So you get paid more as a traveler. And the reason why is because they're needing you instantly. And so instead of waiting around for that permanent therapist to show up, put down roots, and get acclimated to their patient caseload, they decide, well, to bridge that gap, we're going to hire a traveler. And those clinics and facilities don't want to throw away money or not have their patients be seen. So what do? They hire you, and there's a fee for your accessibility. And really, that's the summary of travel therapy.
Mm-hmm.
There's also different tax benefits as a traveler, showing dual expenses, having your tax home. That falls into you making a little bit more, which we plan to do more videos on those topics in the future.
Mm-hmm. So in summary, nobody who's in a permanent position is going to support your decision to travel without asking one of these 10 myths. I'm pretty sure of that. We got asked all of them, and that's okay. But what I want to say is, don't let other people's fears become your own fears and keep you from doing something that might be the experience of a lifetime or open up many more opportunities to you. Ultimately, decide if it's something that you want to do, and by watching this video of the top 10 myths, hopefully it makes you feel more educated and prepared and confident about your journey. So thank you so much for watching our video about our top 10 myths for travel therapy. We hope it was super helpful, and we would appreciate your feedback. We would encourage your feedback. So let us know what you think. Let us know if you've heard any other myths and if you can bust them for us. And we look forward to hearing you guys on our comments section on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to us so that we know that you're out there. It really helps support our channel. And until next time,
see ya.